Summer Code, Return of Genericness. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to brain dump what I'm thinking and what I understand about the current state of a general summer student coding internship type program. What we have right now is a giant flowchart with 4 columns, actually 5 columns. There's the funding organization. In this case, this is basically Google Summer Code trying to genericize that model. So the left column in this example would be Google. And the organization would be the project, so say Fedora, and then the individual mentors and students that are working within that project or hoping to work within that project for the summer. And finally on the far right, there's the community at large that is not participating in this program in any other specific way. So, so we've got rows across the left and timeline down the right side. So we're going to start up here with the fall. So the fall, each of these blocks represent deliverables that are passed back and forth between those groups. So the funder sends out a call for proposals. It goes over to the organizations. The organizations spread the word for its call for proposals to mentors and students. And mentors and students generate mentor applications, and students at this case are just doing project proposals, that kind of thing, and they're like student applications. And those feed into the organization app, which contains some information about the organization coordination, how that's going to run, how you're going to pick mentors, how you're going to follow up with students, how you deal with disappearing mentors and students. Google's application is a very good, I think, standard in this respect. And then the different mentor applications that you have in the profiles of those mentors, and then the different project proposals that you have, the profiles of those projects. Now that gets submitted back to the funding organization. They make a decision, and then if the decision's a yes, then the organization goes and says, alright, great, now we've got these proposals that are coming in, we're going to go through the process, here's the criteria we're going to use to pick them, here are the criteria we're going to use to evaluate students. So that goes in, that gets used to choose the rank order of students based on the proposals. Notice how the proposals are worked across the mentor-student boundary already, so this is a feedback loop that's supposed to be going. They work on those, and in the meanwhile, now the community is starting to make their summer plans. So this is, if I'm not involved as a student, as a mentor, as a sort of organizational administrator, but I'm in the community and I'm seeing these proposals, I might be thinking, oh, that's interesting. Maybe if a student picks up that project, I should make my project interact with theirs in some way. That kind of thing. Anyway, so we go through the review process that the organization has defined. You end up with a rank order of these are the students that we'd like to fund, the top N for N slots of funding. In the meantime, the funding organization chooses the number of funding slots they're going to give the project, and that plus the rank order of students, you just go down the list and go, stop! We're going to fund everyone above this line. And you got the final roster of mentors, projects, and students, and then students can go make their summer plans. And at that point, summer begins. So summer begins, and the students are working, the community is helping out. This is the community column right here. Community is helping, students are working, asking for help, they're working, they're asking the mentor for help also, of course. And then at some point, twice during the summer, at the middle point and at the end point, there are evaluations. So community gives feedback to the students and the mentors send feedback here to organization aggregates it, takes it over to the funding organization, which goes, alright, great, we're going to send the money right to the students. And we do it again. There's the working, helping, feedback, evaluation, aggregate the evaluation, money, yay, money. Alright, and so now this brings us to the end of the summer, and the students are coming up with a sort of final presentation of what they've done. They present that to the community out loud, to their mentors, and then that gets aggregated up to aggregated final reports, and then this goes into organizations, give the different funding programs, and there could be multiple funding organizations, so that, when you've got the rank order of students, you might have, you know, another organization over here going, oh, we'll give you more funding slots, and so you just have these students are going to be funded by these people, those students are going to be funded by those people. So all that feedback gets aggregated down. Then this is what we came up with for the summer as a project, as say Fedora or JBoss or whoever you are. And here is our feedback to all the different funding organizations we might have dealt with, so as to how we might be able to be more effective with them next summer and how they might be more able to be effective with us next summer. So that feedback loop goes all the way back up into next year's program beginning. And in the meantime, that's also going the aggregated final report. So note that the organization column has a lot of reminders in there. They remind the mentors and students to do their evaluations. They remind them to do their evaluations again. Those are the check-in points. And then it's a lot of aggregating, a lot of staying on top of things. And then they send those things out also to the community. At the end of the summer, there's, in conjunction with the presentation feeding into that, there's this sort of handoff to upstream and what's going to happen with this project now that school is starting again, and maybe other people want to pick it up, maybe we want to drop back to maintaining it part-time, maybe I need to clean up things so that other people can pick up on my work, whatever that means, to make sure that things continue to function and that the work from the summer is used. So there's a pullback to the whole flowchart process there. So this is the generic model as I understand it. And once again, this is a burn dump. It may contain bugs, but patches are welcome. And if you're interested in this topic, there's a summer coding sig in Fedora. You should go and check out our mailing list, and we also have weekly meetings. Thank you.